let's get into the news.
Carlee called a relative after speaking with the 911 operator. She went missing during that conversation sometime after 9:36 p.m. The Hoover 911 Center received a second call from Carlee's mother stating that a relative was on the phone with her when they heard Carlee scream, and then they had an open phone line. At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 Center receives a call from Carlee's residence stating that she returned home on foot. She stated when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came out of the trees and mumbled that he was checking on the baby. She claimed that the man then picked her up and she screamed. She stated he then made her go over a fence. She claims he then forced her into a car, and the next thing she remembers is being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. She also told detectives she could hear a baby crying. She told detectives the male had orange hair with a big bald spot on the back. She said she was able to escape. She was able to escape. The 18 fled on foot, only to be captured again, and then was put in a car. She claims she was then blindfolded, but was not tied up because the captor said they did not want to leave impressions on her wrists. At some point, she was put back in a vehicle she claims was able to escape while it was in the West Hoover area. As you can see, there are many questions left to be answered, but only Carlee can provide those answers. What we can say is that we've been unable to verify most of Carlee's initial statement made to investigators, and we have no reason to believe that there is a threat to the public safety related to this particular case. Thank you very much.
Whoops. As you heard, the police, the authorities in Alabama are casting doubt on the story of one Miss Carlee Russell. Yes, you may have, if you've been watching the news, you may have heard about this story. She is the woman who set off a frantic search when she disappeared for 2 days after calling 911 to report a toddler wandering on the highway. She told investigators that she was abducted and forced into a car. But they're saying now that they can't verify this account. Yeah, the 25-year-old returned home on Saturday and prompted intense speculation about where she had been and what had happened to her. Her mother, Talitha Russell, told NBC's Today Show on Tuesday that her daughter was abducted and fought for her life when she disappeared. But now Hoover Police Chief Nick Durzis is casting doubt on that account. At a news press conference, said that the detectives were still investigating her whereabouts, but had so far been unable to verify most of Carlee's initial statements. Now, this is what she told detectives. She told detectives that she was taken by a man who came out of the trees. That's old school, coming out of the trees. When she stopped to check on a child, put in a car and an 18-wheel truck, blindfolded and held at a home where a woman fed her cheese crackers. At some point, Carlee said that she was put in a vehicle again, but managed to escape and run through the woods to her neighborhood. In the days before her appearance, she searched for information on her cell phone about Amber Alerts. Yikes. A movie about a woman's abduction and which was taken, and a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham, Alabama to Nashville, Tennessee, departing the day that she disappeared. Yikes. Her phone also showed that she had traveled about 600 yards while telling the 911 operator she was following a 3 or 4-year-old child in a diaper on the side of the highway. She has not talked to investigators a second time. Yikes. The police on Tuesday said that detectives did not uncover any evidence of a toddler walking on the interstate. Surveillance videos from Russell's neighborhood show Carlee walking down the sidewalk alone before arriving at her home. She was conscious and talking when first responders arrived and later treated and released from a hospital. Now, the police have said that she called a 911 operator last Thursday night, and then a relative, and told both of them she saw a toddler in a diaper on the side of Interstate 459 and was stopping to check on him. Police played the 911 call at the press conference. When officers arrived at the location, they found her car, cell phone, and a wig, but were unable to find her or a child in the area. Now, her mother, Talitha Russell, told AL.com, which is Alabama, I guess, .com, last week that her daughter was headed home after leaving work and shopping to get food. Carlee was on the phone with her brother's girlfriend when they lost contact. A single witness reported seeing a gray vehicle and a man standing outside Carlee Russell's vehicle, police have said. Now, police said on Tuesday that she also stopped for snacks on the way home, but none of the food was found in her car with the cell phone or the wig. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, this is not looking good for old Carlee. Look, we've talked about the issue of mental health, especially with this pandemic. This pandemic has been very hard on all of our mental health. It's hard enough being black in America. I think to a large extent this pandemic has exacerbated a lot of it. It's the post-George Floyd era of sort of social upheaval has been very hard on our community. I think the post-Trump era has been hard for a lot of black people as well. We saw that with the Jussie Smollett situation, where, you know, it was pretty obvious from day one. I remember I was working with Jonathan Booz on Mondays when the whole Jussie Smollett thing happened. It was one of the last big stories before, you know, COVID hit. And I remember me and him from day one was like, yeah, I don't know, man. This doesn't look right. This doesn't look like, I don't think I'm buying this. And a lot of people saying, oh, you guys are just homophobic and you guys are just, you know, you don't want to believe this black man and because he's gay or because he's. And it's just like, look, we live in an era where social media and clout chasing and mass narcissism, especially in sort of millennials and Zoomers, is intersecting with the overall stressors of working class life in America. I talk about this all the time on this show. The working class has not had a raise in America since 1973. That's when real wages reached their peak in this country. If the minimum wage kept pace with inflation and productivity, it would be $25 right now. That's what it should be right now, because historically the minimum wage was supposed to be pegged to inflation and productivity. But wow, we're seeing generations of people who seem to be melting down. And I'm looking at Carlee Russell here. She's a very beautiful young woman. She had a boyfriend who seemed to be very worried about her, a family that seemed to be very worried about her. But this society that we're living in is so toxic. And it encourages a certain narcissism in young people with social media. And look, I'm not saying it's 100% that she faked this, but it's not looking good for her. It really isn't looking good for her at all. Like I said, she researched the Liam Neeson movie Taken and whether she was too old for an Amber Alert before she vanished. You know, she's refusing to be interviewed for a second time after initially giving them her elaborate abduction story. It was revealed that prior to going missing, she was seen on surveillance cameras stealing a dark bathrobe and toilet paper from her job, which was the Woodhouse Spa. She worked at a spa. You know, on the day of her disappearance, she searched how to take money from a register without being caught. Jeez. You know, and also we're seeing now she's really, it appears, I will say, it appears that she's hurt a lot of people. It appears that you know, her family did an interview a few days ago with NBC News, and these people were heartbroken. Like, really, these people were legitimately heartbroken. Listen to her parents.
Toddler walking alone down a highway. Well, they are speaking out in an exclusive interview. NBC's Priscilla Thompson spoke with them. She joins us now. Hey, Priscilla, good morning.
Hoda, good morning. As questions around this case intensify, the family is urging the public not to speculate, saying that it's upsetting to Carlee, and right now their focus is on her physical and mental well-being. That moment you all first laid eyes on her again, what was it like?
To me, I mean, just so much joy.
This morning, in an exclusive sit-down with NBC News, the parents of 25-year-old Carlee Russell are speaking out, describing the moment their daughter appeared on their doorstep after being missing for more than 48 hours. What did you do when you saw her?
We tried to hug her as best we could, but I had to stand back because she was not in a good state. So we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her. But it's okay.
Last Thursday, police say Carlee called 911 to report a toddler walking alone on the interstate. She pulled over while on the phone with a family member who described hearing Carlee scream.
Her vehicle's unlocked, running, all her personal belongings except for her phone.
On the scene, police found no sign of Carlee or a child, and they say no children were reported as missing during that time period. The Russells waited in agony until Saturday night.
There were actually just so many calls and texts from people who maliciously lied to us. I just didn't know people could be so evil.
Authorities have not indicated where Carlee was during the 48 hours she was missing or what happened. Her parents declined to share what their daughter told them, citing the ongoing investigation. And can you tell me what happened Saturday night? Did you just get a knock at the door?
Anything leading to the case itself, we can't discuss that.
But they say speculation about the circumstances surrounding Carlee's disappearance are only making things worse.
She's having to deal with the trauma of people just making completely false allegations about her.
Her family now urging the public to let the investigation play out, but mentioning an abductor. Her mother asking to read a brief message to the public.
Carlee has given detectives her statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
NBC News has reached out to the Hoover Police Department to ask whether they're looking for an individual involved. Police have just said they're following up on all information provided by Carlee. And when I talked to you all on Saturday, you also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss the details of that.
But they say one thing is clear. Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life. There were moments when she physically had to fight for her life, and there were moments when she had to mentally fight for her life.
But she made it back to you.
She made it back.
Yeah, she did make it.
Yeah, so I mean, those are her parents. I feel awful for those people. Again, you know, we talk about this regularly here on this show. We are, particularly young people, millennials, Zoomers, are really having a hard time in this new world, sort of adjusting to the world of social media, and like I said, the sort of collective psychosis that our society seems to be in right now. And you know, I feel, I understand people being angry at this young woman. I think that if she did indeed concoct this abduction story, she has to be held accountable. I don't agree with the idea that people aren't allowed to be mad, or she should be completely absolved of any of the actions that she's committed. If it appears that she is indeed, fabricated this story. But I also think that we should have some compassion for her. Like I said, this generation in general, with social media and with the culture, the clout culture that we have, where everybody wants to be special, everybody wants to be a victim, everybody wants to get attention. This weird, toxic narcissism that's happening in the last generation or two. This is something we're really going to have to reckon with as a society. It really is the case. We're really going to have to reckon with this as a society, folks. Well, all right, we're going to be right back after these messages here on My Country with Scott Cannon on Issues and Answers. WLTH 1370M. That number again, 219-885-1371. That's 219-885-1371. You want to talk to me about Carlee Russell. When we get back, the billionaires, we're going to talk about how they're screwing us over.